My name is Antonia. I'm a poet. It's my dearest passion. But I have a secret. Sometimes my name is Acetone. You know, 5-time laceration lasses champion, but who's counting? That's my other dearest passion. I know, it's ridiculous. That's why I'm determined to keep these two lives from ever intersecting. Oh, shit. I'm everything that keeps you up at night, and in the day I make you long for sleep.
Hey, shh, down. Good, that's good.
Thank you. Please excuse me for just a minute.
And now, storming into the ring, straight from the ink and pain department, the heel in high heels, Acetone!
I am everything that keeps you up at night, and in the day I make you long for sleep. And I'm taking you down, Gina the geologist Jorgensen.
Ha! You might think you're a 10 on the most hardness scale, but I know you're merely a 1.
I love you, Acetone! Bury me alive!
Be right back.
This is a newer piece. I parted ways with myself, planting pieces that grew to places I never knew, faces that
Can see right through the veil of all your failures combined.
But I loved them like the tide loves the sand, reaching out but drawing back its hand. I am closer to the chest than you understand. With every
Pound of my heart, the ground breaks apart, a piece chipped away.
with nothing to say, so
Don't say a word, just stay on display.
but no force on this globe can ever erode.
And Acetone is back in the ring! Looks like she's brought an instrument of torture!
Can ever erode.
My stalwart memory.
What's this? An appreciation for nature from Acetone! Oh! She is absolutely merciless tonight, folks!
You monster!
Oh no! Acetone is down! I cannot believe what I'm seeing!
I can't keep doing this. I am phrases of a person, never a full sentence. I think about this every single goddamn day, and I wish I didn't have to, but I do. I think about it every single goddamn day. I look up, it's on the ceiling. I look down, it's on the floor. It's under every bed and in every closet door. I'm not sure when I started sinking, but I'm too afraid to come up for air because when I get there, no one will understand. So I stay underwater and pretend I'm on land. At the bottom of the sea where no one can see, I pretend I'm not drowning, but I am.
Hey! You seem tense. Made you some tea. It's my own blend.
Wow, you made this?
You know, people are like sedimentary rocks. We're made of many different things all mixed together, including mud, sand, quartz, clay, feldspar, silt, mica.
You knew her as Acetone, but now she's got a BA in language arts and breaking hearts as the Poetry Slammer!
I love your poetry, Slammer! Your use of metaphor presents a fascinating dichotomy between the real and the unreal!
And how lovely it is to have all of life's smiles on one face.
Hi everyone, and welcome to the 2021 Rookies Awards interview series. My name is Christina Ryan, and I'm a senior texture artist at Industrial Light and Magic in Sydney, Australia. And that was the work of Ella Cesari. She was the runner-up in our 2D animation category for the Film of the Year, and she was also the People's Choice. So amazing success story. So I can't wait to introduce Ella to you. So I'm going to go ahead and bring her on right away. Ella.
Hi.
Hi,
Hello.
Ella. It's so nice to have you on, and thank you so much for joining.
Thanks for having me. It's really good to be here talking.
Yes, of course. So I suppose, are you okay to just start off with telling me just a little bit about yourself?
A little bit about me.
Yes.
I am a 2D animator, a story artist. I am from Philadelphia, and I went to school at School of Visual Arts, SVA, in New York City. And New York City is like where this idea was born, but then because of COVID, I moved back here to Philly, and that's where it was made.
Wonderful.
Yeah. Sorry if there's a siren outside. I don't know if you can hear that, but
no, I can't hear it at all.
Cool.
And guys in the audience, if you have any questions whatsoever, please feel free to just pop them in the chat, and either myself or Ella will answer them. So I guess at what point did you decide that 2D animation was what you wanted to do?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know when I came down between like 2D animation specifically, but I know animation was basically started from having a lot of as a kid, just watching mostly Pixar, like a lot of those like movies that you see as a kid, and then but having like the DVDs that those movies were on, and having the bonus features, and having the commentaries, and seeing all these behind the scenes things of like how they make these films, and like realizing that is a job that people like do like with their lives, and thinking like, oh, okay, I guess I could do that. Like, so that's where that came from.
That's amazing.
And I haven't learned any better since.
I think you might have a friend in the audience. She said,
yes, I do. Hi, Tammy. Hello.
Why are you so
good
amazing?
Questions? Why am I so amazing? It's hard to say. It's a variety of factors.
And besides Toy Story, what is the best Pixar movie, and why is it a
Why is it A Bug's Life? I think you have a personal bias there.
Oh, well, I'm glad that you've got some friends in the audience. Sounds like you've got a great support network. So I guess, could you tell us a little bit about the school that you studied at? You mentioned it very
SVA. It's nice. I think it's the college experience itself, like the college system certainly has like broader issues. I think for me, like SVA was a good place for me to grow as a person and also as an artist, because it's like the middle of New York, and like you're very connected to the rest of the world. It's not like you're on a campus and you're very isolated. It's quite the opposite.
So how long was your course? Was it 2 or 3 years?
I mean, it was a 4-year
4 years.
Bachelor's.
Yeah.
But this project was 1 year. This was thesis year. Yeah.
So did you find, the school that you studied at, was it primarily 2D animation, or did it teach you a bit of everything? And you
SVA has a 3D animation. I think they call it computer art as a major, and then 2D animation. Among other things. Yeah.
And I mean, I can see that you're inspired by a lot of different things, even in your background. I can see a lot of
yes, I'm very transparent. Yes.
That's amazing. Can you share about, maybe some things that might inspire you? Are there any particular animations that have inspired your work?
I don't know. I mean,
what's your favorite,
I know it's
favorite animation?
Yeah, it's an easy answer because they did go to SVA as well. They are like one of the most popular of the alumni, but like Rebecca Sugar's work is really inspiring to me. There's something very like distinct about it, but that almost doesn't capture it accurately enough. It's like it's not afraid to be a little like rough around the edges sometimes, or like take things from real life that are messy and real, and
marry that with concepts that are super like out there. And that's one of my favorite things to do, is like take something comedic or fantastical and connect that with something real and emotional,
Yeah.
which is something I tried to do with this film.
Oh, and I can I was watching your film and I could totally see how having that two lives, how that can just, be applied to so many different things.
Right, because like on the surface, that setup, that trope of like I have to be in two places at the same time is very wacky and comedic, but under the surface, I think it can represent a lot.
100%.
And I didn't want it to be so bogged down by like the allegory of it that it stops being funny. So I don't know. I tried to find that balance.
Oh, I think you did a fantastic job, because like I said, surface level, it's a really fun animation, but deep down it can mean, quite a few different things. But I think you did a great job at that. And I think that's something that really separates out a lot of entries, is just having that story and like making you feel something when you watch it, So well done.
Totally.
So what made you enter the Rookie Awards?
I think it's something that the school definitely suggests that students do. I think there's definitely a connection there. And yeah, I think like that's where I heard of it, and it seemed like, I think I was first introduced to it in my junior year of school. So I entered my film that year, and that got a couple accolades. I don't think anything as fancy as this one, but it just seemed like a good place, as the name implies, it's like for people who are just kind of entering. And that's kind of what I needed, because, it's hard to like get into it. Like, yeah.
Yeah. No, that's fantastic. I'm so glad that you decided to enter. So if you could tell us just a little bit more about your Rookies entry, and then we also have a question as well, which I think I'll ask after that.
A little bit more about the entry and what sense?
Like, I guess maybe you could talk about what inspired it, maybe some ideas that you had.
Oh, okay, yeah. So,
yeah.
The core of the idea, a lot of it is from my friend Charlie, who voices the announcer in the wrestling ring. I've worked with them on a lot of writing over the years, and I was just trying to like spitball anything. And at the time, Charlie was very into pro wrestling, and so we started talking about that just like randomly, and trying to think of like what's the opposite of that, because I try to come up with like interesting concepts based on like contrast. I think that's a good rule of thumb. And so we were talking about that, and first we were thinking like maybe it's we knew, like, I knew I wanted to contrast it with some kind of artist, because we talked about how the way that pro wrestlers talk in a lot of like their promo commercials is so like elaborate and thought out, that's like that like legitimately is an art in itself. Like they are so dedicated to their craft. Like it's, people talk about like, oh, wrestling is fake, and that somehow is supposed to devalue it, but I think that just means like
it's
art. Like it's so difficult to pull that off. And so they do that, and then we were thinking, okay, what kind of artist can we put opposed? Like, was it a theater person? Was it like, we were thinking like a Bob Ross type painter? And then I thought about if it was a poet. I'm pretty sure the poet part came from me, and then after that, I went off on like, oh, and then they booked the same thing on one night. What are they gonna do? And then they had to, and that was it for a bit. And then I started thinking deeper about it and thinking about how it can be about identity and things like that.
Yeah. Oh, that's
Long
really
story
awesome.
short,
That's fantastic. I absolutely love it. So a question from Tammy.
Yes.
Do you feel a voiceover performance inspires a lot of the animated performance?
Yeah, I think like yes and no, because it's like there are times where I know who I want for the character, and so I kind of, because basically the process is that, for this at least, I made the animatic, which is the storyboards, and I mostly used scratch dialogue, which is like me saying the lines, so I didn't have the actual voiceovers yet, but I was still drawing like all the poses and expressions. So in that sense, it didn't inform it. But then there were people where it's like, okay, I know who's going to come in to voice this character, so I can kind of think about that. Yeah.
Yeah, so I suppose it's sort of like, I mean, you know what you want, but perhaps a voiceover could inspire the performance.
It could. I could see a scenario. It's not often where I really would like diverge, because once like the animatic is together, that's kind of like it's a lock at that point. You don't really want to change much, but sometimes there's something like
for sure. How long did it take to make this particular piece from idea to final edit?
I don't know. I can't speak for actual like number of hours, but the idea was thought up in like March of 2020 and completed in like April 2021. So basically a full year.
Yeah. I mean, it's a pretty long animation as well, 5 minutes. So I know how much work that is.
Sure.
Is that, I mean, because I'm not experienced in 2D animation, how much of that would you, I mean, is it all hand drawn? Or do you
it's kind of, it's a combination of like traditional hand drawn animation and like Adobe Animate-esque, even though it wasn't in Adobe Animate, but like puppet animation, which is basically when you have, I didn't make rigs, but there were a lot of moments where like body parts I would just kind of like move around rather than redraw, because that definitely speeds the whole process up. And with this lineless style that I have, I think it looks a lot less obvious that things are being tweened. Not that like, I don't know, people diss on tweening a lot, but I think like it is just another process. Like it's just another way of doing the thing.
Oh, 100%. I think a lot of animations are done in that particular way rather than hand drawing each frame, because it would just wouldn't get done. So what was the biggest technical problem you faced?
Well, that's the biggest technical problem.
That's a challenging question.
It's really hyper specific, but there's those scenes where she's running and it's like a wide shot of both the buildings and you have the sky in the background. I had made the sky as like a gradient, and I realized that when I exported, something about the export settings, like no matter what I did, it would have it would look like, it wouldn't be a clean gradient. It would be like these bars of color. Like it would have these like scan lines on it. And I kept trying and trying. I think I ended up with something that was like, this is the best I can do. It was like a lot of After Effects work, but
I think that's something we face.
It has nothing to do with animation, but it was the biggest.
100%. I think and it's great that you were able to overcome that challenge as well. And honestly, like sometimes it is like if something is wrong, sometimes you just fix it up and patch it till it looks good like that.
Yeah, exactly. And those scenes are on for seconds anyway. It's not.
100%. And Elsie, someone in the audience wants to know, did you have to research wrestling for this?
I did. A lot of the specific ones I was looking at were Randy Savage, The Ultimate Warrior, Hulk Hogan, Captain Lou Albano, a lot of just like, and obviously, so in the 80s, there was a women's wrestling show called The Gorgeous Ladies of Wrestling, or GLOW. And then recently, a few years ago on Netflix, they did a show that is like, it's a fictionalized version of what really went down, but like it was a real women's wrestling show. Yeah. Oh, that's wicked. So there was a lot of inspiration there with like just how 80s that the character looks and the hair and all the
Oh, so good. I remember like as a kid growing up, like I would watch Foxtel, which is like pay TV, and I would just sit there and watch the wrestling. I used to love it. And then I used to record it for my friend on like a video. And what was your final grade? I'm sure it was like A++.
It was pass fail, so I'm done with school now. So I think you can see where that.
Pass with flying colors. So Ella, what advice would you give to someone who wants to enter the Rookie Awards for next year in your category?
I would say don't think about what other people are doing. Just embrace the thing that you're doing, and like, which is easy to say but hard to internalize.
It's very, very hard, isn't it? I think as artists, it's really easy to compare yourself to others, isn't it? I think
Oh,
that's
definitely.
really good advice to just know your path, know where you want to go, and believe in yourself and keep going down it. I think that's something that you've achieved very well with your entry.
Yeah.
So Ella, I think this was so unique. I loved the concept.
Thank you.
So I think it'd be a great time, Ella, if you could share your screen and
Yeah.
show us whatever you like, whether it be some background, some progress. I always find this like a fantastic opportunity for the audience to ask questions about your workflow as well.
Sure. Let me see what the best way to do this would be.
Be a button that says share screen somewhere.
Yes. I'm going to share the screen. And can I share? Yes, I can share a specific window. And all right, let's do this one. I'm going to share some very early, super rough sketches, just because I like sharing, like, you
I
know,
love this sort of stuff.
super rudimentary, just figuring out how they're supposed to look, like,
amazing.
Yeah, figuring out how the hair looks and making it feel like these were that these were the same person, but also making it like believable enough that you know that you can change from one to the other. I mean, you know, it's obviously a stretched reality, but that no one would necessarily think that these were the same person. And this was me, you know, over there on the left. I don't know if you can see my cursor or not. You probably can't.
Yeah, no, I can see it.
Okay, so right here we've got this like diagram of like keeping track of where she is, when, and like what happens. And then this was a whole like scrapped idea where there's like an angel devil thing on her shoulders. I'm like, that's a little, it's been done, but so it's a lot of that. And the geologist character, I was originally thinking like as a Randy Savage type of like this male wrestler. Then I'm like, you know, like, what if she was a girl? We can do this. It's 2021. Like, and here's like down here is there a little like test of like what a typical scene would look like. Yeah,
that's amazing.
We've got some other figuring out the outfits, and here's me figuring out the geologist character, and some of the background characters, like the guys in the audience, figuring out how they're gonna look, like what kind of head shape they got. And here's, you know, we're seeing more finalized, more consistent, because it's important for me to get comfortable like drawing the character and for it to be fun to draw the character also. I really try to get it to that place, because if I hate drawing the character, then I'm not going to have fun animating it.
Yeah.
And also making them animatable in the first place is good. Like not bogging it down with so many little details is a whole other like aspect of the design.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's wonderful.
Let's see. There's other things, or do we want to move on?
Oh, it's up. Like honestly, you have as much time as you like. So if there's anything else you think would be valuable and you'd like to share,
no, I do think that's the most interesting that I've got.
Yeah.
As far as like real behind the scenes stuff.
No, that's
awesome. Spam bots in the chat. Cool.
Yeah, I saw that.
Love that.
Like, this is great.
I mean, hey, I'm glad they're having a good time.
How to stop it?
I don't know either. Oh, they're in the YouTube chat, so yeah.
Oh, great. I'll have to look into that. Just ignore that, guys.
Sure.
So, Ella, what does the future look like for you?
Well, let's see. I just finished an internship with Augenblick Studios. There's an animation studio in Brooklyn. And we just finished working on the show Teenage Euthanasia, which has finished airing on Adult Swim as of now, but there's like episodes on the Adult Swim site that you can watch, and HBO Max eventually, and all that sort of stuff. Yeah, and now I'm working on stuff that I can't talk about, but
yeah. So you said you were doing an internship. So are you still in?
Yeah, I just finished that.
At the moment?
Yeah, I finished it over the summer.
Oh, you finished it? And did you end up moving into a position, like a working position within the company, or?
Possibly in the future. We'll see. We'll see how that goes.
Yeah. Oh, that'd be wonderful. Someone said, what TV show stands out as an animation masterclass? Not quite sure I understand that. Do you understand
No,
that?
I see it like, yeah, they're asking me what the objectively greatest television cartoon is. And as the authority on all things, I can answer that correctly. I'm not sure, honestly. That's a big question.
It is a big question. All right, well, we can move on to when you are a millionaire, what animated film and TV show would you like to reboot?
Oh, I would like to reboot nothing and give my money to independent original projects. There we go.
That's a really good answer. And yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it in terms of questions. Do you have anything else you'd like to talk about or anything you'd like to share with everyone?
I'm not sure. What were the parting words? I think I have something here, and it's just that I was never really sure of myself for a few years doing this, and even now, like even sitting here, I have the imposter syndrome always. But I want to believe that good things are possible in the world, and I think this is a good example. Like sometimes you never think that you could be in a position that you are in, and then you are, and you don't know how you got there, and then you have to talk about how you got there, and you're not sure. But yeah.
That's really inspirational, Ella. I think.
Oh, thank you.
It's true. Like you've obviously come so far. You've met a lot of challenges along the way.
It's never done, but it's.
Yeah, exactly. It's like a continuous journey. You've done a fantastic job getting to where you are. You've worked very hard, and I think you are an inspiration to a lot of people. Even in the audience, people are saying you inspire us. So
thank you.
That's great. And oh look, we have another question. We'd love to know a little bit about the internship and the structure of it.
So basically, I was assisting with character layout, which because this was an Adobe Animate show, I was placing the characters in their poses to be animated later. And then I was doing assistant animation, which was a lot of like in between frames. Like if you're moving from here to here, I was drawing like the middle frame. And then a lot of lip sync, a lot of mouths moving. And it was good to learn the program. It was an unpaid position, but I think I was getting taught a program that I didn't know. So that was a good trade.
That's fantastic. And how long was that internship?
It was for the summer. It was 3 months.
It was through the summer, yeah. I think there's something really powerful about internships. And like I know that in my job, like I learned a lot of my job on the job. Like I learned a little bit in school.
Oh, for sure.
It gave me the toolkit I needed, but then most of my learning was done on the job. So I think internships are a great way to learn. All right. Sorry, did you have something else to say?
I don't know. I think I'm all right. If you are.
Awesome.
A cool 30 minutes, a nice half hour.
All right, so no more questions from the audience. I think we're all good. You got a lot of encouragement. You have a lot of friends.
Thank you.
All right, Ella. Thank you so much once again, and thanks for being such an inspiration to a lot of other 2D animators out there who look at you and they want to be you, right? Especially next year you've got a bunch of new students coming in. They're going to be looking at your work. So thank you for inspiring everyone and for entering.
No pressure. All right. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Ella. And thanks everyone for joining and tuning in. I'll see you next time. See you later.